All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about how to avoid the commission income roller coaster that the vast majority of our industry experiences throughout their whole entire career. And you all know what I'm talking about here, that the ups and downs, those big swings, like you're on a damn roller coaster ride when it comes to your commission income. All of a sudden you have that big month, followed by that down month or two. And then you all of a sudden you again have another big month or two, followed by a down month or two. So that inconsistency, those big ups and down swings inside your real estate business. And look, I don't care if you're an individual agent, team leader, broker owner, at all different levels, the vast majority of our industry experiences this up and down ride throughout their whole entire career. Now, the first thing I want you to understand is that that is a choice. Is it a choice? It's a choice to experience that. It's also a choice to not experience that. And I'm going to do a deep dive here today on exactly what you need to do to ensure that you have that consistency. Now, consistency for you, depending on what your goals are, and we're all at different levels. Look, you might be like, hey, I just want to be popping a deal a month every single month like clockwork. Or maybe it's 4 deals a month like clockwork. Maybe you just want to be having that consistent, income coming in, that consistent production. Or you might be like, hey, I want to have the consistency month over month, but I also want to consistently grow my business 20% or 30% year over year, whatever that looks like. So we're going to talk about month over month consistency as well as year over year consistency, because there's two different things there. To experience month over month consistency inside your real estate business, that's really going to come down to your schedule, your habits, making sure that you're doing the right daily and weekly actions consistently. Those consistent right actions lead to consistent results. But then when it comes to a year over year basis, you also have to have the ability to read markets and make sure that you're making the right shifts and you're pivoting correctly based on the overall changes with the different market and with the economic climate that we're experiencing. So at a very high level, there's two things at play here. Now, in order to pull these two things off, there's going to be 6 things that I'm going to cover with you here today that you need to get dialed in to, again, experience these consistent results that I know you all want to go out there and experience. So we're going to be breaking down strategy, tracking, processes and systems, schedule, skill set, as well as your ability to read markets and how these all come together to create those consistent results that I know that you are after inside of our real estate businesses. Now, real quick, before I do a deep dive into these 6 different things, look, if you're an individual agent, team leader, or brokerage owner, and your business is not exactly where you want or need it to be, maybe your business is declining, maybe it's staying stagnant, maybe it's growing, just not growing at the exact pace that you want it to grow at, and you just do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. If that is you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a 1-hour-long coaching call where we're going to break down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are for your real estate business, what you are currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. Then from there, I'm going to map out what my recommendation is. Like if we were to switch places, if I was in your shoes, if I was looking at in your situation, I'm going to break down exactly what I would recommend to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. And I promise you this, by the end of this free zero pressure coaching call, you will leave this coaching call knowing exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. We're going to eliminate all that confusion, all that guesswork, make sure that you have full clarity. You're going to be like a horse with the damn blinders on, knowing exactly what you must do and have your game plan to go out there and make your goals a reality. So this is something that you want to take advantage of. Go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Or if you just scroll below to the show notes or the description, it'll be the top link on there for you to go out there and schedule this. And again, I will make sure I got your back. I got you covered. I will make sure that you do not leave this call with not knowing exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner. Now, as soon as you book that, there's going to be a really important video. It's a quick video, but a really important video for you to watch to ensure that you are most prepared to get the most value out of this free coaching call. All right, so let's just jump on in. And again, we're going to break down these six different things to ensure you're creating that consistency, to avoid that roller coaster, those up and down swings throughout your business. And I get and understand that some of you are in seasonal markets, but even if you're in seasonal markets where the winter months are maybe slower and then the spring and summertime really ramps up, look, you can still avoid that roller coaster even in those markets by just preparing correctly by dialing in these 6 different things. Okay, so number one, the first thing I want to talk to you about is your schedule. And I don't care what level that you're at, individual agent, team leader, broker, owner, if you're in production, not in production, this thing when I'm talking about schedule is going to apply to you. So my recommendation when it comes to schedule, I'm not going to break down an exact schedule for all of you to follow because that can differentiate based on, what our roles are, what our responsibilities, what level that you're at in your real estate business. But this number one rule that I have when it comes to your schedule will apply to you regardless, which is win the day by noon. What do I mean by win the day by noon? Okay, you need to identify what are the core KPIs, key performance indicators. What are the core activities, the core things that you must do to win each and every day, to win each and every week at the highest possible level, and make sure that those things are done by 12 noon each and every single day. So if you are an agent, and let's just say you're in production, because I know most of you are in production, regardless whether you're team leader, broker, owner, individual agent. So if you're in production, okay, those KPIs, at least the way that I break them down in my business to create this consistency, the 3 KPIs I'm paying most attention to are my number of reach outs, number of conversations, and number of appointments set. So I know exactly what those need to be daily, and I know exactly what those need to be weekly, and I make sure that those are hit before noon each and every single day. Now, you might be like, well, why am I not paying attention to closings? Why am I not paying attention to appointment conductions? Why am I not paying attention to other KPIs, right? You got your lead measures and your lag measures. So when I talk about lead measures, okay, what are the things, the very beginning of the things that if these happen, okay, the outcome takes place. So an example of this, and I'll give a health and fitness, example, because that's something that we can all relate to. So thinking of this scale, right? Like you're trying to lose weight, you jump on the weight scale, right? So that is the outcome. That is the lag measure, just like closings in our real estate business. Now you might want to go jump on that scale once a week to see where you're doing. But where your focus needs to be is, okay, if I eat these daily meals and I input these exact nutrients, these exact amount of calories on a daily basis, and I do these daily activities, and I do that day in and day out, well, that scale is going to show me exactly what I want it to show me, right? The path is the math. There's 3,500 calories in a pound. If you want to lose 2 pounds every single week, okay, you got to be at a 500 caloric deficit daily, right? That is going to, like, the scale is going to show you what you need to show, what it's going to show you. So we need to attach to the lead processes, the lead KPIs, and detach from the outcome per se. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not paying attention to my closings, but that's not my obsession, right? And the 3 leading KPIs, at least in my experience from my real estate business, and this is just what's allowed me to become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet, is I obsess over those 3 numbers, right? And again, those are my amount of daily dials, my number of conversations, and my number of appointments set, because those are all within my control. And I make sure to know what those numbers are that I got to hit daily. I know what those are that I got to hit weekly. And I make sure that those are done by 12 noon. So what are those most important roles, responsibilities, actions that you need to take to move that needle forward to create this consistency and make sure they're done by 12 noon? Why by 12 noon? Okay, the longer the day goes on, the more opportunity for fires to come up, for distractions to come up, right? You're going to have a lot more appointment conductions and showings and all of that stuff in the afternoons. And, so stack your meetings, stack your appointment conductions, stack all of that stuff in the afternoons, right? Because again, the longer the day goes on, the more distractions, the more fires, and so forth. The secondary component to this is how human beings are wired is, look, we just have more willpower in early in the day. It's like as the day goes on, the more our willpower wanes. And the reality is those most important KPIs that we got to hit every single day aren't usually the most fun stuff. It takes more willpower. It takes more focus. It takes more energy. It's like Brian Tracy's famous book of Eat Your Frog First. Like, do the hard shit, the most important shit early in the day while your willpower is at its strongest. So let's just say as an example, I want to go out there and I want to pop a deal a week. Okay, here's an example, a schedule of that. Okay, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Maybe I'm getting in the office, knocking out any urgent emails, updating my CRM with any leads that came in the night before, and I'm getting ready for my daily, follow-up calls, daily prospecting calls, my lead gen, my lead follow-up. Okay, then from there, let's just say 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is going to be, because if I want to go out there, let's just say I want to close a deal a week, but I want to make that listing heavy, right? So, okay, I'm going to make sure that then from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm hitting my daily dials because I know if I want to list a property a week, Monday through Friday, I need to be hitting 100 dials and 10 conversations a day. So then, okay, so 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., that's going to be my, hardcore prospecting or lead follow-up time. Then let's just say, okay, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., miscellaneous lead follow-up. So meaning sphere of influence, past clients, other lead sources that come in that are maybe not my primary sources. Okay, then 10:30 to noon would be, emails, client updates, paperwork. So then noon on is what I call pounding the pavement time. By pounding the pavement time, that means, appointment conduction. So whether that be listing presentations, buyer consultations, putting offers together, showing properties, and so forth. Now, for those of you that are in a leadership position like myself, that I'm a full-time CEO of my real estate team. My job is to go, I'm not personally going out there and selling homes anymore. My job is to make sure that my agents within my team have the opportunities, the systems, the skill set, and so forth to go out there and, sell those properties. So my job is to, go out there and create those opportunities, for them. So I still stack my day the same. I make sure all my core shit that I need to do is done by noon. And then I stack all my appointments, all my meetings, all of that stuff after noon. So I get those core things to ensure that I'm winning. So if my day goes to hell, right? Like if I have all these fires come up, deals are going sideways, whatever, it's like I make sure that I win every day by noon. So even if noon on my day gets completely disrupted, I've still won that day. Okay, so number one of consistency is schedule. And remember, if you want to have a consistent result, that comes down to consistent daily right actions taken each and every day and each and every week. Now, when I say consistent daily right actions, I'm not sitting here saying you can't take a day off from time to time. No, like take a day off. You need some rest and you have the ability to go out there and recuperate. But we got to make sure we're taking the daily right actions and really those weekly right actions to go out there and stack our day. Okay, so then number two here is strategy. When I'm speaking of strategy, the definition of strategy is just your overall effective plan. But when I'm speaking to strategy, I'm specifically speaking to your client acquisition strategy. So what is your client acquisition strategy? And again, what are those KPIs? KPI, in case you don't know what that stands for, is your key performance indicators that you need to hit, again, daily and weekly with that client acquisition strategy. So let's just say I'm wanting to stack listings and maybe I'm going after absentee owners and divorces, which are great ways to go out there and get listings in this current market. Okay, I need to know, well, exactly how many dials, how many reach outs, how many conversations, how many appointments set, needs to take place within that strategy to hit my numbers. This is really, really important. It doesn't matter what the lead source is. Maybe you're doing inbound versus outbound. It doesn't matter. Like, because in my team, when I operate, in just case you're new to this channel, you don't know who I am, I operate a mega team here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're, selling 2+ homes every single day here in Phoenix. So I've sold over 7,000 homes, and with a mega team, okay, we're doing a lot of different things. So within the team, I have a Zillow division. We have, we're going after listings, we're going after buyers, a lot of different lead sources. When I say these things, I'm not recommending if you're an individual agent to go out there and do what I do per se, because context matters. I've got over 50 agents in my real estate team that we're doing these things collectively, so there's a lot more of us to go out there and do different things. So that's why I have different departments and people taking different actions in those different departments. But based on that lead source, like I know exactly where our conversions are at. I know exactly where our conversions need to be and what actions need to be taken. So like an example, I know exactly how many Zillow leads that we must get, daily, weekly, monthly. And I know exactly what the actions are that we got to take on those leads on a daily and weekly basis to go out there and hit those conversions. So when it comes to your client acquisition strategy, a lot of agents make the mistake, and team leaders and broker owners make the mistake of just focusing on lead gen. I'm talking about client acquisition strategy, right? We've got to go lead gen, lead follow-up, and the appointment process. Real estate is a 2-step sales process. Don't forget this. Make sure that you know this, that you understand this, because the vast majority of our industry doesn't understand this. They think, oh, I just need more leads. But then I start having a conversation with them about their leads. I'm like, okay, well, what are you going to do once you get those leads? Walk me through your step-by-step follow-up process. And I'm not saying that they may not have a lead gen problem, but the vast majority have a lead conversion problem more so than they have a lead gen problem, right? So we got to know, okay, what we're doing to generate those leads, but those leads only exist to follow up with those leads effectively to set that appointment. Then obviously that appointment exists to conduct it, to then convert that appointment into a client. So I need to know, okay, what are the exact numbers and what are the exact actions I need to take within that strategy to hit my conversions. So make sure that you've got your client acquisition strategy in place. And just a tip here, This is something that's coming up a lot because, when I say coming up a lot on these free coaching calls that I do, I'm booking about 4 or 5 of these every single day. So I'm having a lot of conversations with a lot of you all over at different levels. And this is something that, again, it's just coming up over and over and over. And I get it because we're in this information age. It's a busy world out there. There's all these podcasts, YouTube videos, go to all these conferences, and we're all told, go do this, go do this, go do this, go do this. So I talk to people that are doing like 8 different things. They become, what's a jack of all trades and master of none. Understand that less is more, right? So I'd rather you do lesser things, but when we're doing lesser things, like instead of trying 8 different strategies, okay, I'd rather do 2 or 3 that you can do at a much higher level, right? You can truly master your skill set, master the process, and become a master of those things and do more of those things and do those things more consistently and get a much higher result. You don't want to be a jack of all trades. You don't want to master of none. You want to be a master of this stuff. So success isn't doing 1,000 things. It's doing a few things brilliantly thousands of times. Okay, number 3 is tracking. I know this is the not like the unfun, unsexy portion of the business, but tracking becomes so imperative because tracking is going to allow you to create predictability. You're going to know your numbers so that now you know what those daily numbers are that you got to hit, those daily and weekly numbers, right? This tells you your own truth inside your own business, right? So this allows you to create that predictability. So let's just say I'm doing open houses as a strategy. And there's, again, there's 1,000 things. One of the blessings of our industry is 1,000 things that work. So I'm not saying you have to do open houses. I'm just using this as an example, right? So let's just say I'm doing open houses. And let's just say your average open house, you're getting, 5 leads to your average open house. But then from there, okay, you're converting 1 out of 15 leads that you get into a closing. But if your goal is to close 1 deal every single month from open houses, well, then now we know that you got to consistently do 3 open houses per month, plus consistently follow your overall follow-up protocol. So then that way you can go out there and sustain those same results to pop that 1 deal a month from open houses, right? But the only way to know those numbers is through tracking, right? So, hey, when I'm doing my open houses, how many open houses am I doing? How many leads am I getting? How many reach outs, conversations, appointments set, appointment conductions, clients, closings am I taking? So that allows us to then create that predictability, but that also is going to allow you to know your areas of improvement. So, I look at tracking like, okay, if you go to the doctor isn't just going to, you're sick, right? The doctor isn't just going to be like, oh, here's 50 pills. Good luck. Hopefully one of these works. No, they're going to run a bunch of tests so they can pinpoint where that sickness is, right? So your tracking not only creates predictability, but this shows you the areas of improvement. So if you're looking to improve your conversions, this shows you exactly what area you need that improvement in. So let's just say, okay, your dial to conversation rate is low. Okay, there's just 3 quick things to go out there and fix that. And that's going to be more of a system and process, a potential system or process issue. Let's just say, okay, your conversation to appointment set rate is low. Okay, now we know it's a skill set issue. Let's just say your appointment set to conduction rate is low. Okay, that is a process / skill set issue. And again, there's just a few things to go out there and dial that in. But here's the cool thing is when we know not just the overall conversions, but then we know where you're at within each of these and what your conversions are between throughout the funnel. Now we know exactly what to pinpoint and what to focus on and how to go out there and improve that. Okay, so number 4 are going to be your processes and systems. Now these are kind of 2 separate things, but they go together. It's kind of like working out and dieting, like they go together, or lead gen and lead vault, right? So processes and systems kind of merge here, right? But the reason why these are so important. Now, let me break this down. What is a process? What is a system? So because again, I know this might sound like a dumb moment for you. Oh, Josh, I know this, but you probably don't know this, right? Okay, at a high level, right? So processes are the step-by-step actions that you take to get the desired result that you're looking to get. Systems are where the processes live to ensure the processes are executed on the same way each and every single time and help you execute on those in a more effective, efficient level. So systems are useless without processes. And why I say that, the reason why I'm repeating this and why I said earlier that you probably don't understand this is because most think, oh, I need more systems. I need more systems. I need more systems. They go out there and buy all these damn systems. And then they don't even, they're like, well, how do I make these systems work for me? Right? Well, they're doing it backwards. That shows me that they don't understand processes and systems, right? Systems only exist for your processes to live. Your processes are the instructions that you feed inside those systems. How you determine what systems you have inside your business is all determined based on what your processes are. Most of you have a bunch of freaking systems in your business that you're just wasting money on that you don't need, that are unnecessary because they don't live within the ecosystem based on your process, right? And if you think ever think of, oh, I have a system issue, no, you have a process issue, right? It all comes down to processes, right? Processes. Think of this as, okay, the system is the cookbook. Inside the cookbook, you have all these recipes. The cookbook is only as good as the recipes inside it. The processes are the recipes. The system is the cookbook. But this, again, ensures that things are done each and every single way, the same time, each and every single way. So it creates those same results. Everybody goes through the same experience. So, like, as an example, okay, I set an appointment for a listing consultation or a buyer consultation. They no-show me. Okay, I just go into my CRM, which is the system. I click a button, it then cues off my process, right? That process is going to be a 26-day, 12-touch process. It's automatically going to email them 6 times, automatically task me 6 times to go out there and call them to rebook that appointment, because there's a lot of money to be made in rebooks, right? Life comes up, life gets in the way. Most people, get all freaking butthurt when somebody cancels an appointment with you. Look, you're going to have cancellations. It's part of the process, right? Like, you detach from the outcome, you attach to the process. This is how you create consistency. But if you don't have your systems and processes dialed in, you're not going to execute the same way. You're going off of memory. Your memory will fail you. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very hard. And you're going to have a lot of inconsistencies, and you 100% will experience the roller coaster, income, inconsistencies that most experience. So making sure that your process and systems are dialed in inside your business. Okay, number 5 is skill set. Now, skill set will help with that consistency in that. So when it comes to, like, let me just first let me take a step back. What is skill set, right? Skill set is how good are you at doing the things that you are doing, right? Now, you can have low-level skill set as long as you're tracking and still taking those consistent actions and still get consistent results. So skill set, but skill set will just improve that consistency, especially if you want that consistency to be, well, I want to grow my business 20% or 30% or 50% year over year, right? Because I'm here to tell you, if you're just playing the numbers game, you are going to hit a wall with that. Meaning that if you're like, oh, I'm just going to work harder, I'm going to work more hours. Well, eventually you're going to hit a point where you can't work more hours and you can't work harder. Like, for me personally, it is an impossibility for me to go out there and double my hours. So I'm already working, I've got 6 different businesses. So I'm already working, 14 plus hour days. Light day for me might be 8 hours, but most days are between 12 and 14 hours. It is an impossibility for me to physically work double the amount of hours, right? Plus we got to sleep, plus, right? So for most of you, if you want to double or triple your business, let's just say over the next 5 years, and your business plan is just to work harder and work more hours, okay, eventually, like, you're going to stall out at that. Eventually, like, there's only so much that you can do there. So then once you get to that point where, okay, you can't work harder and you can't, double your hours or whatever, you can't work more hours. Okay, well then how do you double and triple your business? You do that by doubling, tripling, quadrupling your skill set. Quickest way to double, triple, quadruple your business is not to double, quadruple or triple, quadruple your hours. It's to double, triple, or quadruple your overall skill set, your overall conversions. So here's an example of this. I'm having a conversation with a couple of my agents. This was a little while ago. One of my agents says, hey, I need more leads. And I said, okay, I get that. And I understand where you're coming from. Now they're currently converting at, 4%. And then I said to them, I'm like, okay, you're converting at 4% based on this lead source that they're asking for more leads on. Then I pointed out one of my other agents, same leads, same team, same system, same market, same everything, and they're converting at 16%. So then I'm like, okay, do you really need more leads? Or do you need to master the process and master the skill set, like, my other teammate that I pointed out to has done? That's converting at 16%. Because then I said to them, I said, okay, if you master your process and skill set, like, this person over here, agent B, we'll call them. Then from there, okay, agent B, if they had your same lead allocation, they'd be making 4 times the amount of money that you're making with the same leads. So I'm going to ask you, do you need more leads, or do you need to master the process and the skill set? Then agent A is like, yeah, you're right. I need to master the process and the skill set. Then cool. Okay. Once you get to when you're converting at that 16%, I'll load you up as many leads as you possibly can fathom or want, but we need to get you there first. Yeah. Right. So that's just an example of skill set, making sure that you are dialing in your skill set, and because there's a lot of skill sets you got to go out there and dial in, but the most valuable, important skill set that you need to master first in this industry is client acquisition, your skill sets around your client acquisitions, right? So this comes from your lead gen, your lead follow-up, so your ability to go out there and set appointments, your ability to conduct those appointments and convert those appointments into clients, right? If you can develop that skill set where you can go out there and generate more customers than you can personally handle, that's going to solve the vast majority of problems that you ever experience inside this industry. Okay, so number 6 is the ability to read markets. So 1 through 5 is talking about that consistent month over month, which, okay, if we want to have consistent year over year, yeah, we got to have consistent, business month over month where we're not experiencing the ups and downs month over month, right? But then year over year, in addition to these things, we have to have the ability to read different markets. So as an example, my, 20 years of practicing real estate, I've seen a lot of different markets now, and I'll just give some examples, right? So I jump in the industry in 2005. So I've almost been 20 years now because we're about halfway through, 2024 here. So I got into business in May of 2005. So I guess it's 19 and a half years, whatever that time frame is. But anyway, 2005, 2006, very similar, like 2020, 2021, crazy sellers market, multiple offers, every single property, property values going up 20, 30 grand every single month, just straight craziness, right? Then from there, okay, things quickly started changing. So my business was very heavy traditional business. I started off as a brand new agent in 2005, just slamming open houses. I did 48 deals my first year by just doing open house like every single day. I was doing 7+ open houses every single week and just going out there and pounding those open houses, right? Working my ass off. That led to 48 deals. Then from there, because I didn't have any listings, I was like, okay, well, I'm spending about 10 hours a week just begging other agents to hold their homes open. Why don't I just allocate that 10 hours to get my own listing so I'm in full control so I don't have to be reliant on other agents? So then I started adding in expireds. So then, okay, 2005 and really 2006, leading into 2007, man, I'm hammering open houses, hammering expireds, I had 48 deals first year, 103 the second. Then all of a sudden 2007 hits. Now I'm still hitting open houses, still hitting expireds, but all of a sudden I started to notice the market changing, right? And it's softening. And all of a sudden we start to see short sales coming about, start to see foreclosures kicking up. Now I'm still doing those things, but then in addition to that, I'm like, okay, those are getting lesser and lesser results, right? So the same actions that I'm taking, I'm starting to have more resistance and getting lesser results. So then I start to see short sales really coming about. So then, okay, I went out there and I learned how to go out there as a skill set. So I'm still doing expired, still doing open houses, but now I'm focusing on short sales and I start building up that leg of my business. Now, then all of a sudden, I start hearing about all this REO and these foreclosures. And at first I had a little bit of resistance, but I was new at that point in time. I'm like, man, I was meeting all these agents that were taking all these listings from the banks. They weren't selling. I'm like, man, I'm able to go out there and pop 20 deals a month from just short sales. Like, why would I, with less work and less money output and less energy, but they were ahead of where I was at. Again, I was naive. I was early, then I realized, oh shit, I need to get an REO as well. So then, okay, I shift that strategy and I get in next, I'm in with 35 different banks and outsourcers. And so now I got, still doing some traditional business, but it's just down here, right? It's not the same production level. I'm not abandoning that. So still doing some open houses, still going after some expireds, but then the majority of my business became short sales and REO, still making sure that I'm doing my past client repeat referral business and stay in touch there because I never want to drop the ball on that. Okay, well then from about mid 2007, early 2008, to about 2012, it was just crazy short sales, crazy REO. Well, then I start to see those things dipping down, right? So I'm getting lesser and lesser assignments. There's lesser, there's just lesser of them. Yeah, right. So then, okay, traditional business hadn't kicked back up yet in my market. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm reading the market. Okay, where's the next opportunity? Well, we start to see all these investors starting to come in, all these big hedge funds, all these big investor institutions, and also just regular, mom and pop, regular investors as well, not all just institutions. Start seeing all these investors just flooding in, just buying up all this real estate. So then, okay, that's the next market opportunity. So then I pivot my strategies to going after those investors. Right. That lasted for about 18 months. Then all of a sudden we start to see traditional business come back. Now, all through that time, it wasn't that I abandoned traditional business. I'm still doing those things. But okay, the majority of my time was focused on where the most opportunities at in that marketplace. So then, okay, it became traditional business. Yeah, right. So that's just kind of an example of reading markets. And that's how, for I guess 20 years now, my business has done nothing but consistently grow year after year. I've yet to have a year that hasn't been better than the previous year, for almost 20 years straight now. Right. So you have to have, it's not just about their habits and the schedule and all the things that we talked about, you also have to have the ability to go out there and read markets. So here's another example. Okay, middle, kind of mid, let's just call it, end of second quarter, beginning of third quarter, 2022. One of my big investor clients that we're doing about 20 units a month with collectively as a team, they come to us and they're like, "Hey, we're pretty much done. Like we're pretty much done buying. With the interest rates going up, with cap rates being where they are, like we're not selling off our properties yet, but we're out, man. We're until this thing corrects, like we're done. Okay, I can't have my business dip and drop by 20 units a month or 240 units a year. Yeah, right. So luckily, I've learned the lesson to not put all my eggs in one basket. So then we had to look for and identify, okay, well, how do we scale that up with other sources? That no longer is a great market for our institutional investors, our big investor clients buying in our market. So then from there, I switched then because I started saying, okay, well, if they're in trouble, okay, then other investors might be in trouble. So that's where we started going after absentee owners very heavily on the list side, not that buyer acquisition side like we had for the previous 10 years. Now, okay, we're starting to see a lot of investors being in trouble. Cap rates not performing or starting to go down. So let's switch into that. Another example of this is for, my first 19, 20 years, I've never went after divorces as a niche my whole entire career. But then about a year ago, I'm sitting there again reading the market. I'm like, okay, it is the most unaffordable time to be alive as a U.S. citizen in U.S. recorded history. So with that being said, if we look at in general terms, right, or just speaking in generality, speaking in masses, for anybody that's alive today, this is the most difficult financial time. Again, speaking in generalities, I know maybe you personally, there's one-offs, there's always exceptions where maybe you've had a time in your life where it's been more financially, hard than right now. But overall, this is the most difficult time financially that anybody that's experienced that's alive today. So then from there, okay, what's the number one reason for divorces is financial hardship. So I started looking at, okay, what's going on with the economy? What's going on, whatever. I'm like, okay, boom, that is a great niche to start going after with listings. And it turned out to be true. It turned out to be a fantastic niche that we're scaling up right now to go out there and get a lot of listings and have for the last year, even though that wasn't a niche of mine or a part of my client acquisition strategy for the previous 19 years, but we're in a different market right now. Right? We're in a market that none of us have ever seen before right now. Yeah, right. So there's going to be different things that you have to do. So with this, I get asked quite often of, oh, Josh, what's your favorite lead gen strategy, AKA client acquisition strategy? And my answer to that, and I know this sounds kind of vague, but my answer to that is always the best one based on the overall economic climate and based on the market that we are in. Right. Because again, throughout my career, I've shifted so many different things and just understand that everything at some point will be disrupted. Okay, I do a lot of YouTube videos and I understand YouTube generates me and my real estate business a lot of business. Okay, I'm not naive. I understand that at some point YouTube's going to be disrupted. I'm planning on it. Now I'm going to milk it for everything I can while it's working, but then I'm also I'm always just observing, watching the different markets, reading what's, because part of markets just isn't what's going on economically. Is a real estate, is a seller's market, buyer's market, and what's going on with the overall economy. But then also when I say our ability to read markets, also that comes down to how business is done, because there's going to be other disruptions like these NAR changes, and after these NAR changes come about, like you best believe that the DOJ is going to come up with many more changes. Like this is just, we're in the very beginning stages of this. Right. And there's going to be a lot more lawsuits, a lot more changes, a lot more disruptions to this. Right. So it can also be in disruptions of how we do business with technology, with AI. Right. So observing that stuff and making sure that you're adapting and pivoting based on those changes as well, that will help you create that consistency year over year. So these are the 6 different things that you got to dial in to create that month over month consistency and that year over year consistency to ensure that you are avoiding that, those ups and down income swings inside your business, whether that be month over month or year over year. And again, if you are struggling with identifying, okay, what is the best strategy for you to get from where you're at to where you want to go with your own personal situation, your own personal business, whether you're an individual agent, team leader, or real estate brokerage owner, and you don't know exactly what to do, you don't have exact clarity on what exactly to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. If that is you. Again, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. We're going to do a deep dive into your business and your personal situation. What your business is, where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals, dreams, and visions are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest sticking points, obstacles, hurdles are. Then from there, based on all of that, I'm going to map out my personal recommended strategy based on your personal situation, your personal goals of what exactly I recommend for you to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. And I promise you this is not some bait and switch bullshit, right? And the reason why I bring this up, because I get that a lot on these calls. People are like, oh my God, I actually got so much value out of this call. It's been one of the best calls, if not the best coaching call that I've ever had, even though it's free. I'm here to deliver value. But then, they're shocked at the end because I always ask for feedback. Well, how was this? Was it beneficial? Was it powerful? Always asking that feedback. And they're like, yeah, I've done these before. And it always just ends up being sales pitches. That is not what this is about. This is a free coaching call. I got your back. I will not waste your time. Now, full disclosure on this. Yes, I'm going to spend 50 minutes doing everything I just said and making sure you are fully dialed in. Then the last 10 minutes, I'm going to spend a few minutes walking through what my coaching program entails, how it works, what it looks like. And if it's something for you, cool. If not, that's okay too. I've got a very strict absolute no pressure policy. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to make you feel guilty. It's not my style. If it's something that you want and you want to roll forward with, great. If not, that's okay too. What I can promise you is that even if you never do any paid advanced coaching, and this is the only free coaching experience that we ever have, and you only take advantage of this free coaching call, it will be a life and game changer for you. I'm here to pour into it and make sure we get you dialed in so you got nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So if this is something you want to take advantage of, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Or if you just scroll below to the show notes or the description, you'll see a link right there at the top. All right, guys. Truly appreciate you being here. Truly appreciate you listening and watching. Keep crushing it. Go out there and make sure you are operating consistently in your business. And I will see you next time. Peace.